Hey babes, Laura here with BJJ Babes episode 10. Little update this week. Yesterday I competed for my first time since I got promoted to blue belt. I was really scared going in. I didn't really know what to expect or how I would do. I think I had a degree of imposter syndrome. I was afraid that I was going to go in and just be completely outmatched and outclassed by the girls I fought. And so it was a Band-Aid I had to rip off. My first match, I did get submitted, but the first part of it, I was having a lot of fun grip fighting with the girl I was matched with. And I actually felt like I was in it and I was present and I knew what I was doing. And then she took me down and smothered me in north-south. So that part of it was not great. But I didn't tap while it was being smothered. I tapped because she got side control and Americana'd me. And then the second match, I lost ref's decision 0-0. So I think what I was really happy about with that is in the past, I've been really impatient and I've gotten anxious in my matches because I wasn't making something happen. And so I tried to force things versus maybe backing away, changing an angle, trying something different. And then I got points scored on me that were kind of unnecessary. And so I think my victory there was the fact that I was patient and didn't have that happen. And I came out of it feeling like, okay, I do belong here. I am a blue belt. I can fight these girls. Even if I don't win, I can fight them. I'm not completely outmatched. I can make it a fight. So I was really happy about that. It goes into this week's episode. My guest this week, she and I talk about competing for a portion of it. And we talk about the fact that, it's not always about winning for everybody. For some of us, it really is about the small victories. Not everybody's experiences, they start competing and they're successful right away. I'm not one of those people. My teammate competed for the first time yesterday. He's a blue belt too. He's never competed. He got silver, which is awesome. He is one of those people, and that's great for him. And I'm really happy for him. It's some people that clicks for them right away. Some people don't. That's fine. All of our journeys are different. Comparison is the thief of joy. And with that, my guest this week is Megan, the founder of Lady Savage Fightwear. When I started the Instagram for this podcast, I was looking for different accounts to follow that were really women focused, women practitioners, women fightwear brands. And Lady Savage stood out to me because of the name. And then her fightwear has this hot, bright magenta pink color that is just my absolute favorite color. So Megan approached me wanting to come on the podcast, and I actually had already been interested in bringing her on and just hadn't had the guts to message her yet. So I was really happy when Megan reached out and said she was interested in sharing her story and being interviewed for the podcast and talking about Lady Savage Fightwear. And what's really cool, I think, with both of us is we're pretty early on in our jiu-jitsu journeys, and we both love it so much that we decided to find ways to really commit to it. I started a podcast, she started a fightwear brand, and so I thought that was a really cool commonality and really cool to discuss with her. So with that, here is Megan and her story of how she got started in jiu-jitsu and created Lady Savage Fightwear. I hope you enjoy. Good morning. We're here with Megan with Lady Savage Fightwear. How are you doing today, Megan?
I'm good. How are you, Laura?
I'm good. And I understand you're joining us from Canada. Where in Canada are you?
Yes. So I'm in Severn, Ontario in Canada. Just a little country area. Love the northern parts. So that's where we're coming from.
Yeah. Awesome. I've never been to Canada. Definitely on my list.
It's definitely a good place to be. It's very welcoming in most areas.
Yes. I feel the stereotype around Canadians is they're very nice and polite and everyone's always apologizing. I don't know if I'm
That
off
is
on
actually the
that.
truth. No, you're so right. You're very right. We do
Okay.
apologize a lot.
Yeah. Is it wrong to stare? Or maybe it's compared to Americans,
Definitely
you
not.
all have manners.
I'm sure you've got some manners over there. I think it's a bit of up and down there, so but we try.
Yeah, it's both like big countries, so it's that thing of you can't ever like, say, oh, Americans are one way or Canadians are one way. There's lots of ways.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
How are you
Um,
doing today?
I'm pretty good, pretty good. It's, Sunday morning here in California. It's a little, our sun is hiding. It's a little gloomy out right now, so hopefully it'll come out.
Oh, that yeah. I guess not the California way. He's seen the shade, but
Yeah.
another stereotype.
Yeah. No, it's funny because like I'm in the San Diego area and like everyone's like, "Oh, sunny San Diego." And it's like, "Well, yes, but we do have like whole months like May, we call May gray and June is June gloom where the sun is just not out."
Oh, no way. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
I didn't know that until I moved here. Yeah, I got here in like April, and then I was like, "Why is it cold and gloomy?" And then someone told me, and I was
I
like,
didn't
"Oh,
move here for this.
yeah." But then, like, July, August, September are beautiful here. Like, that's the time of year. If you ever visit California, like, honestly, come out in September because that's when like all the tourists are gone too.
Oh, okay. Duly noted. Yeah.
Yeah, local tips.
I would love that.
Yeah. So, Megan, if you want to take a couple of minutes, introduce yourself, who you are.
Yeah, for sure. My name's Megan. I am very new to the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu world. I'm going on almost 2 years of training, and it's changed my life massively. And it's also brought me to create Lady Savage. It's been an experience definitely all around. I've invited it not only into the athletic part of my life, but it's in my family life now with my kids are doing it. We're just revolved around it. And I also, fun fact, run a child daycare. So not only am I doing that, but I'm also with kids all the time. So it's like best of all worlds for me. That's what I do. And I also am a children's book writer. So kind of like a little thing in everything.
That's something I love about Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is how family friendly it is. I think it's a great sport for parents because of the kids programs a lot of gyms have.
For sure. Definitely. I think that, especially because kids do have so much energy and times have changed, right? So, helping them giving them tools to kind of adapt to all those changes at such a young age, I think has been mind blowing for my kids so far.
You said so you've been training just under 2 years or about 2 years?
Yep. Yeah, just coming up 2 years in February. That's when the women's program at my gym, Resolve Martial Arts Academy, started. And it just, yeah, I stuck with it and never left. Don't ever plan on leaving.
I love that. So, what got you to try it for the first time and what hooked you and kept you going?
Yeah, for sure. It's actually a funny story. Never even considered the sport. Honestly, I don't think I've ever thought of it. I heard little bits of it when George St. Pierre first came out, like way back when. And my friend's husband runs a gym, Resolve Martial Arts Academy. They were looking to start a women's program. So she had asked all of her close friends, hey, come out and try it. It's a free class to try. And just to support each other, right? And I thought, why not get out of my comfort zone? Just give it a try. Like, just be supportive, right? The feeling I got from just being in that one class, it was so overwhelming, but in the most positive way. I felt like I could dominate anything when I left that class. And I've never felt like that before. I felt like there was a possibility to have the strength that you see all these men having in the sport or in that field, right? It's such a male dominated area that I was like, oh my goodness, is this for real? Like, can women do this? And then I was like, is there going to be more? And we kept going and I just fell in love with it right out the bat. And what kept me hooked is an easy answer. The mental break it would give me, all my worries and my problems, they would just literally disappear the second I'd walk in and then the second I'd leave because you don't have time to think about anything else. Like trying to give your 100% focus and think about other things in that kind of situation, like when you're learning something so intense, it's just, for me, it wasn't possible. So that was really nice. And I think that's what kept me holding on. Of course, the community, the women that I trained with, and there is like co-ed classes and so on, but I'm still just breaking into that. But the women that I train with are just so uplifting and empowering, and they don't put anyone down for their lacking in what we're trying to learn. They walk you through it, and it's such a welcoming feeling, especially in such a fierce sport. And last but not least, I stay with it because it brought me strength that I never thought I could ever have, not just in the gym, athletically, fitness wise, but like mentally, even with my day-to-day parenting. I like take tips of being calm from being on the mat in just that alone. So that's what kept me hooked.
Yeah, I feel that too. Like, do you ever sometimes I'm talking about something in life or at work or with a family friend, and all of a sudden in my head this jujitsu analogy pops in, and I'm like, do I want to bring that in, or do I want to be the person that was always mentioning jujitsu, but it just kind of happens?
It does. It really does. And sometimes I'm like, oh, just hold it in. Don't bring it up. And then boop, it comes out. I'm like, well, I'm just that friend now.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I share your like the mental benefit of getting that, like, you cannot think about your problems. I share that benefit and that feeling as well. It's a great one to have, I think, when you have a busy life and a lot going on. It's nice to have a place that kind of takes your mind away from it.
Oh, for sure. Like I definitely agree there. I know since I've started this, I've learned that a lot of the women that I've spoken with, like it's also like it helps them heal traumas, which is a huge thing for me. I think that's really important. Again, whether it's like financial traumas, emotional, relationship, it does a lot of healing and it's like such an experience.
Yeah, I agree. So, since you started and got hooked, what's your journey been like since then, including starting? I mean, you went like all the way in. You created a fightwear company, which is so cool.
Yeah, it's definitely been a journey. I did not expect it. And I think that's what I love about it. Every step has been like right out of my comfort zone. Like, from the second I stepped onto the mats, like just learning each and every time has been such an experience. And, I'm just a white belt. I have 4 stripes and just to get to that point has been such an honor. There's been moments at the very beginning and still now where I kind of beat myself up. I'm like, oh, why didn't I do this better? How can I improve this? But I've noticed with each class, each tournament I've been in, I take away something so important. It's like what I didn't do in that moment, I can learn to do the next time. I found that doing those micro adjustments, like constantly, especially when, at the beginning you're pretty squirrely, right? Like I know I was when I first started. It was like, whoa, fight or flight mode. So being able to learn all these little things that can just, you realize they do help. Like it's been an amazing journey just starting that, even in the tournaments. I've never won, and I'm totally proud to say that I've never won. But with each one, I've brought away something so different. My second tournament, I was able to last a little bit longer than the first ones. I didn't get subbed as fast. In my last tournament, I actually lasted the whole round without getting subbed. And I was like, wow, like that's a win for me because that means I was able to hold on longer, stay calm longer. So I love that part of it, that it teaches you to just be more present instead of trying to overthink everything all the time. So that's been my journey with jiu-jitsu itself. And then, I had trouble finding women's wear to wear for like under my gi and stuff like that. And nothing that actually really popped out for me and made me feel comfortable, made me feel like, I hate to say this, but at times I can be a girly girl. I wanted to feel good, but I also wanted to feel like I'm not just a girly girl, if that makes sense. Which, I came up with this idea, Lady Savage, and I had a friend help me, Sarah, on the designs. And it just kind of went from there. I wore it to class one day and my friends in class were like, you should try selling it. You should try doing something with it. Because I wanted it to be more than just a little fightwear line just for myself. I was like, you know what? Maybe I will. Why not jump into something uncomfortable, right? Never having any expectations either because I know how hard it is to break out into things. But as I started to mess around with it with my designer, we started creating more things. And then it turned out to be more than just the fightwear line. We wanted it to be something that made women feel fierce and feel beautiful and show that like we can be best of both worlds. Because I think for me, when I think of jiu-jitsu, at first I thought, men are going to be like, oh, who's this little girl coming in here? What's she doing here? And I didn't want that feeling. So I thought, I'm going to create something that gives you that warrior feeling. Like, I'm a savage. I can be a lady and a savage. And that's kind of where it started. And now I want it to be more, not just Fightwear line, but women empowering too. I want it to show the huge community around jiu-jitsu for women, men too, I'm sure. It's just, it's an incredible thing and it's so uplifting. I've never witnessed anything like it. So that is what I want this line to be about. And that's kind of what started this whole journey.
And that's something that really speaks to me is one of my prior guests talked about the fact that you can hold both the masculine and the feminine. You can be, like you said, a lady and a savage. And
Mm-hmm.
I find that, I'm somebody, I've always been a tomboy, but there is a side to me that is girly. So seeing a line that has both of that does speak to me. And then I told you when we talked before, I just like hot magenta pink is
Yeah,
favorite color. Like I love an aggressive pink. So
exactly. Right. In your face, like, look, I'm here to shine. I'm here to rock it. Let's do it.
yeah, like I'm a girl, I'm girly, but like I will also choke you out.
It's funny. I think about that more often than usual in certain situations. Oh,
Yeah, absolutely. How did you select that pink color?
pretty much exactly what you said. Like, there's something about that pink. Like, everyone knows pink's girly girl, right? Let's be honest here. But purple just wasn't going to cut it for me. Like I wanted it to be like, listen, I'm a girl and I'm here to dominate, whether you believe it or not, kind of thing. And I thought the most bright color out there, female wise, is that bright magenta pink, right? Just pops in your face. And, the first time I wore my rash guard set that I created, the Lady Savage pink one with the slashes across it, I had a lot of compliments and I had a lot of people looking at me. And at first I was like, you know what? I worked to a gas station because I was about to go to class. And I thought, you know what? That is what I want though. I want people to be like, whoa, what's this girl's really bright, but like, what's she got going on? What's her story? It's not just I'm a female. It's I'm a female to dominate here. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what chose that color for me.
Did you have a background in graphic design, in creating clothing, or did you dive in and learn when you created the line?
I have absolutely zero experience in designing clothes. I've been working with my designer, Sarah Boulay, amazing, with my children's book stories. She's an amazing graphic designer, has her own company. I just kind of threw this idea off to her and I said, I wanted to, create something for me. And then it kind of was like, I want to do this, 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 and this. Are you ready to dive in with me? And she's like, let's go. And she's a fierce woman as well. She is very driven in her line of work. So I thought, what not a better person to do it with than her. So the main aspect for me after I started thinking about Lady Savage was I just kept seeing women warriors everywhere, whether it was online, Instagram, TV. And I'm like, what? This is it. This is it. Like I want it to be a warrior, frontline, female, like Viking queen, savage, right? And she's helped design most of it. And we have bounced ideas off each other, colors. We're constantly in each other's ears and chatting with each other about new up and coming things. And yeah, she's definitely been a big inspiration to this line as well.
Mm-hmm. How far into training jujitsu did you start designing Lady Savage?
It's only been a few months. It's since the beginning of summer. Again, like I wanted like women's shorts that I could wear, things like that for under my gi. And I was like, oh, it's so hot. I don't want to wear leggings anymore. And so it wasn't very long. And then for me, I'm the kind of person that once I get an idea in my head, I go like full throttle, like, and it can be intimidating, but at the same time, I'm just, there's no time like the present. So it hasn't been very long.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
I think something that's really cool too, there's so many pros and cons to the internet and what's out there. I think a pro is women in jiu-jitsu being able to find each other. We found each other on Instagram. I found ladies on Reddit and just all over the place. And another pro is the fact that it makes it possible for people like you that are entrepreneurs to create products. And I noticed for women, clothing options got for different body types got so much better when the
Mm-hmm.
internet made it possible for women to create brands for women and sell them over the internet.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. Like it's been a huge game changer I find for women. And like I said, I haven't been in this journey very long, but I did notice like even from when I first started looking at stuff 2 years ago till now, it's so nice to see that there is more women out there utilizing this and like getting stuff out there for us. And I find that it's encouraged a lot more women empowerment as well and like more community, more uplifting within the sport, within brands like that to fit your body. Like, all the rash guards that I've bought in like menswear and things like that. Yeah, they fit, but not the way that you want, right? There's a couple other brands that I follow. One is Alchemy's Fightwear, and their gear, it looks like unstoppable. It looks so femme fit. It just looks breathable. Like it's amazing. And it's so nice to see that there's so many lines out there that are like that now. And hopefully that is the way Savage will go one day.
Yeah, that's exciting, and that would be awesome. I think, Alchemize is definitely a brand. Like their founder is a woman who trains Jiu Jitsu, and she's
Yeah.
young, so it's pretty cool to see
Yeah.
that out there. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely use them as like a role model. Like they're definitely, reaching their dreams, I think, for sure. And it's beautiful to see, like, it's never like a jealousy thing for me with anything like that. It's like, wow, like good for them. They're out there kicking and, they're doing their dream and it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not pie. The more that's out there, the better for everybody. I think we all win as
Yeah.
women when women succeed in jujitsu, whether it's, clothing brands, different kinds of entrepreneurship. It just makes it better for all of us, which is awesome.
Oh, for sure. And again, like that's the best thing about the community, right? Like I feel like no women really now I haven't come across any that like don't put you down. They don't make you feel cruddy in any form, even after tournaments. Like it's so nice to have the woman that just beat your butt all over the mat, come up to you and say, and give you a compliment on what you did, or just, shake your hand and say, good job. Like it's so nice.
Yeah,
So it's great to see that in all of it.
I think that is something really cool about the jujitsu world, especially on the women's side of it. I'm not on the men's side of it, so I can't speak. I think it varies with them. I
Yeah.
think like among the black belts, you get some with the machismo and the trash talking, like at the really high levels, like the Gordon Ryans of the world, they do that.
Yeah.
But I've also seen at tournaments, really, really high respected black belts, they get out of a match and they're talking to their opponent about like what each of them did well. And it's like, oh man, you really had me with that butterfly. And so I know that's something I've experienced with the women I compete against, and also something then I try to internalize, like, this is the way to be. We kick each other's ass on the mats, but, outside of that, we're all friends and we're lifting each other up.
Oh yeah, you hit it again right on the nail there. It's very true. It's to come I yeah, again, can't say for men. I've seen some great things and the gym I'm at, everyone seems like so welcoming and not judgmental at all. My friend's husband who owns the gym, he is so kind, so straightforward, very not judgmental at all, and that flows through the whole gym, like how he wants to run it. It definitely speaks in the people that he allows to participate in the gym. And it's really great to see in men as well that they are not being judgmental towards us because, we're here too. We can do anything they can do. So why not uplift each other at the end of the day?
Yeah, and I think that definitely speaks to something too about what can keep women in the sport is the gym owners and the environment they create. Like you mentioned that you went into your gym because they had a women's program and they had a free class. So
Mhm.
how often does your gym have women's classes, and how big is your women's program?
So they have it once a week so far. They really want to add more classes. I think we just have to get more women into it and like make it more aware to people. Right now, I think we're sitting at 6 or 7 consistent. Sometimes like everyone's schedules are different, right? So the good thing is we all try to work together on like timing, right? Oh, if you can't do this time, because no one wants to miss it. We get one class.
Yeah.
But, they've done a seminar, a self-defense women's seminar, and it was a hit. I think they're doing another one soon. And, I've asked to maybe bring Lady Savage there and, try and help uplift women, get women out there. It's such a great gym. The class is amazing. The people are amazing. So hopefully we get some diehards sticking around longer.
Yeah, I mean, 6 or 7 women is like, that's, I think my gym, it varies. And I think we're down to like 3 or 4 just because we had one of our really solid members move, which was sad.
Oh,
But it is like, I love training with the guys. I love the guys at my gym, but it is nice to
yeah.
also have the ladies there. It's a different dynamic.
It is completely different, like altogether completely different. And I know how it feels to only have a few. Like we definitely had moments where there's been classes where it's just like me and 2 others, like with my coach and then just one of my other teammates. And I mean, we just try and treat it as like this is like a private one-on-one. It's okay. We're okay. We're getting more attention right now. So every time we do get a girl like pop in to do a trial, we're like, what can we do to help them see that this is like the best thing in the world and that anyone, any size, any female can come and be in this class and feel welcome. It has been a battle getting women to stay though, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's intimidating, right? Once you get into the class that first time, that's one accomplishment, right? Like that's huge, getting out of the car and going in and then showing up to the next one and the next one. I think it's going to be intimidating, but I definitely think that you can't just make that judgment off one trial class. I think you should definitely try to at least go to 2 or 3 to see really what it's about. Get that vibe that the women are giving. Like we're in there training, but we're also enjoying each other's company, having jokes, but then being serious when it's serious time. Like we know how to shut it off real quick. So, it is hard getting women to stay. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that intimidation factor, it's definitely hard. I remember when I first started, I just kept forcing myself to go back. I was like, it'll get easier. Easier is a relative term. Still not. I still get destroyed. But so but you'll get to know these people better. You'll get more comfortable with them and you'll get more comfortable with the class. It's definitely, you have to make that decision to stick with it. And
yeah.
that's a tough, I think for me, I was not in a great place mentally, so that was part of it, was like it was helping me mentally, so that's what made me keep going.
Mm-hmm. Was that like your main thing that hooked you on the sport? What hooked you on to stay aboard?
That is fun. Yeah, I think it was initially the fact that I here and there, like right now I'm good because I'm on medication, but I have panic attacks. And
Mm-hmm.
when I first moved to San Diego, I'd gone off medication. I was trying to not be on it, and
Mm-hmm.
probably was a mistake, but the panic attacks were coming back. And every time I went to jiu-jitsu, I'd feel on the verge of a panic attack. And then when I got out of the class, it was gone. The feeling was gone. So that was initially just that, the ability to take away that feeling of just
Mm-hmm.
freezing and panic. And the fact that making myself go to this class took away that feeling was initially what kept me going back.
That is amazing. It's so good that you were able to find an extra outlet without having to take the medication, even though you benefit from both, that can like shut it off for you and like control it. That's such an amazing thing.
Yeah, I think jujitsu, it's not a substitute for mental health treatment and therapy, but it definitely can supplement and
Mm-hmm.
help whatever treatment you're getting.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I completely agree with you there. It's definitely a game changer, and I never thought it would be. But I definitely advise all women to just give it a try. Just give
Mm-hmm.
it a try. It's
Absolutely.
scary, but what isn't scary, right? In life these days.
Yeah, and what life is interesting if you're living inside your comfort zone. And jiu-jitsu definitely brings you outside your comfort zone, socially, physically, and mentally, all the ways.
Every way, being close to people, just feeling their sweat.
Oh my god, have you ever just been like on the bottom with someone who's sweaty and like I've opened my mouth and you get the sweat in your mouth or you get it in your eye and you're just like, oh.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my goodness, like just keep going, don't make a face.
Yeah. Oh, I had this one team.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, there's some sweaters out there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. But
You
that's,
definitely don't look as good going off the mat as you did going in. That's
oh, the before and after. The before and after is
oh,
definitely a vibe.
It's so funny. I actually have made it like a habit to just look at myself in the mirror after just to show like that was some hard work you just did there.
Oh yeah. Do you ever I look at my gi pants coming out of class and I'm like, oh yeah, I put it in today. These are soaked.
Yeah, and they like are just they feel like wet towels just wet. Yeah.
Yes. But it's
Oh.
satisfying. There's like a sense of accomplishment in that, for me at least.
Y- Oh no, for sure. Because if you're breaking a sweat, that means you're going at it hard. You're giving it your all, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You've talked about competing. When did you start competing and what made you decide to compete?
I started competing pretty early. The adrenaline for me at the beginning of like, I had this thought in my mind is if I can go into a tournament and even just make it out, this sounds funny, but alive, then I should be able to apply that in everyday life. Just, going through things, life hands you some pretty ugly lemons, that's for sure. So I thought maybe if I put myself that far out of my comfort zone where I have no choice but to like stand strong, then, it might mean something in every aspect of my life. So I started pretty early. A couple of us went down with our club and it was an experience. There was adrenaline everywhere in the air. It was you could like feel the sweat walking into the tournament room, and it was fast. All of it was so fast. I felt like, and just like the pumping of the blood when you're waiting on the edge of the mat to go up into the middle
Mhm.
is like, oh my gosh, the adrenaline from it. I don't know whether to be scared of it or to be like excited, but it was just something I've never felt before. And even though I didn't win any of them, I got a good takedown, and that was enough for me. Like that was a win.
Takedowns are hard. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, the other ways I was trying to, like pull guard, things like that, like I wasn't doing it fast enough. So I was like, the only other way I know how is just like go for the kill, right? And it worked the first time. I was like, oh wow, like that felt really good. And that feeling alone just made me want to keep going back for more because you're going up against a complete stranger. You don't know what they're capable of. You don't know their training. And you're both in an uncomfortable position, not knowing what the outcome will be. That I loved. And because I can apply that in my life and like it makes me feel stronger in every aspect, I was like, I have to keep doing more. Even though, again, like I mentioned, I haven't won anything yet. It's still, I will never stop doing a tournament. Even if I lose every single one, it's such a feeling coming out of it. And just the learning that you get from it. Like, I did this wrong this time. This is why I got trapped. So now next time it won't happen. And I've been able to apply those learning lessons every single time I've gone back in. So it's been great and, it hasn't been a long time, but it's, 3 tournaments now. So just want to keep going. And I don't look at it for the winning aspect. Like I'm not in it like I've got to get a medal. I've got to be better. It's just being out of my comfort zone. It's something I really needed to do in my life, and it's been helping.
I think that's a great mindset to have. And I try to have a similar one for sure as well. I've won one match at a tournament, but I think my last tournament I lost, but it was the first time I went for submissions on somebody. Like I went for a baseball choke. I had her in a guillotine. Like, so I didn't win. I lost on points, but
Yeah.
if you look at it at the end of the day, like we're not, like there are people who do this for a career that are trying to win world
Yeah.
championships and win like the tournaments that actually pay big amounts um to the to the winners. But if you're not in that very small pool, the small victories and yeah, like getting that takedown, getting like start going the whole round, losing on points instead of getting subbed, like though, and how you can translate that to
Hmm.
you know how you can improve in the future. I think those are the victories.
Yeah, for sure. Congratulations on your win. That's amazing that
One
you had.
last February.
That's amazing though. That's a big accomplishment, I think. You're right though. You're absolutely right about all of that. You couldn't have said it any better.
Yeah, and it's sometimes hard because people talk like there are the people who come out, and they're like higher belts now who are like, oh yeah, I lost like every match at white belt. I didn't win a match for a whole year, but now I'm really successful. and there's people who come
Hmm.
out and they're like, oh yeah, I started competing and I won immediately and I won all my matches and I did really well. But, so you hear that sometimes and you're like, but why am I not? And it's like, well, actually, the majority of people aren't, and that's fine.
Yeah, you're so right. Like, I know we always see out there all these women, men getting these medals constantly all the time, like 10 medals on their neck. And you're like, what's going on here? I can't even get one, but it's really just, it's not even about that. You're right. Like some people are in the gym every day, hours on end, looking to get that goal specifically. And then there is some that, you know, are there for the journey and they just build, build, build. And then when they become higher up, then they're like, admitting like, I was a white belt too. Then I started winning eventually and things grew and grew.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what do you love the most about jujitsu and what challenges you the most?
What challenges me the most, I always want to like, do you mean actually in the sport? Like when I'm in the gym?
Sure, whatever that means to
Sure. In the sport. Okay. I think what challenges me the most is that, you know, I'm not a very big person. I don't lift weights. I just started my fitness journey kind of when this all started. So for me, it's like learning to defend myself and learning to be able to get out of things like being trapped in somebody's mount. Just like little things like that's huge for me. And that's always what I'm wanting to learn is like, I need to learn how to defend myself first. Then I'll learn and master submissions and stuff. But first, because I am my size, I feel like I get thrown around a lot. So I've had to kind of tweak certain things to work with my size, compared to some of the people I train with. And, everyone has got their own technique, right? So I think that the defense part of it is huge for me having to work on. Um, yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like the small people like you, like when you find that, like you guys are the actually like the sneakiest because you're the ones because you can get into places like that someone bit like I'm more like of a mid-size. Like I can't sneak my knee up into like under somebody's side control, but like my smaller teammates, like I have them in side control, and the next thing I know, they've snuck their knee and it's like up by their ear, and they've recovered guard. Oh, now they're arm barring me. Okay, that just
Oh, this all just happened so fast.
yeah. So like we all I one of my professors once said to me like we all have our superpowers and in jujitsu and
Yeah.
I think the small people, their superpower is getting into those little spaces, and they're really good at chokes because their hands are small. And
It's funny you say that. Everyone, mainly one of my friends, Robin, her and her husband own the gym. She's always saying those grips on Megan. Don't let her get those grips. I guess that's like my strong suit is just my little hands just latch on like little monkey fingers.
and that is deadly. That can be super deadly.
It's definitely helped me out a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um,
Yeah.
where do you see your future in jujitsu, and what's the future of Lady Savage Fightwear?
I hope to never stop this. I hope to, those videos and pictures you see of women who are 65 just going out there dominating the mat, even just starting their journey at that age. It's crazy. And I think that it can bring me down to a really calm place eventually, like within myself, with like self-love and everything like that. So I hope to never stop. I hope to one day make it to a black belt whenever that day may come, if I'm 70, whenever. And that goes hand in hand with Lady Savage. I don't expect like I'm not trying to put a huge expectation on Lady Savage because it is hard to get out there. I'm just going to take it step by step and enjoy every opportunity I get given. Example like this one. This is huge for me. And thank you so much for allowing me to speak with you about it. I hope that one day, like it could be in stores and not just online. Years ago, I worked at a martial arts distributor store called Hatashida International. And the owner, Roman Hatashida, he was actually a judo master. So to think that years later I ended up here, I was only working there as a receptionist. And so example, like I reached out to them, like I used to work there. It was a great great community there in the company itself. And I thought maybe one day I would be lucky enough to have my gear their in their company. And I remember they would ship everywhere in the world. It was insane. And now, like then there wasn't that many women involved. There wasn't that many women lines in the store. So it would be interesting to see what it looks like now. And maybe one day, Lady Savage will end up there.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, just having those options out there for women. We are growing in the sport. We are finding each
Hmm.
other. We are building community, and I think having those brands that speak to us and are created by us is a big part of that.
For sure. Like, again, it brings you all back to like how women are within the community of jiu-jitsu. Like, it's like no one wants to see anyone fail. And it's so amazing. So, I'd love to bring Lady Savage to the States more. I would love to open up even my own storefront if that is if that's what's meant in the cards for Lady Savage, I will welcomely accept it.
It's awesome, and I think
Yeah.
it's cool too. Like I think just creating Lady Savage early in your jiu-jitsu career, it kind of is like me creating the podcast, like also about 2 years and just over 2 years. And I think it's a statement of like, this is something I want to commit to long term. And it's kind of a statement of our commitment to jiu-jitsu.
You're right.
And there's a jiu-jitsu podcast I like to listen to. I'm such a fangirl of BJJ Mental Models. The
Oh,
host of that is
okay.
a Canadian black belt named Steve Kwan.
Oh, I'll have to look up.
Yeah, you'll have to look it up. Steve is he's great. He has a saying, a black belt is a white belt who never quit. And it's something I remind myself of when I get discouraged. Like, just stick with it.
That's amazing. It's like such a simple but like strong quote to relate to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And like that's amazing about your journey with like your podcast and your jujitsu kind of roughly around like, the same time. Like it's like you're early into it and you decided, I want to start this podcast because you fell in love with it. Like that's great.
yeah, and part of it too was like there's so much of the forward facing stuff in jujitsu is the people that are like that started when they were like 12 and became a black belt at 20, and those people are great and I want to interview those people too. Like, yes, please come on my podcast.
Yeah.
But I also want to share stories like yours of people that got into it as adults, and I want to share those stories because I want women who start jujitsu at 35 like me to be like, oh my God, yeah, I can do this. I'm not too old. It's not too late. I want to have the 60 something women who just started or who started in their 50s. Like, I want them to tell their stories because I want all women in jujitsu because we can all benefit from learning from each other.
Yeah, for sure. And that alone, what you just said there, you wanting to speak not only to the really big, great ones with the master belts and like the huge journeys and things like that, but you also want to give the other everyday, day-to-day people who are going in as a white belt at any age. Like I'm 33 now, so like, I roughly the same time as you. And it's so nice to hear that you want to give them a stage to talk about their journey to make them feel important as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, it's, you know, I think like you created a fightwear brand that you wanted to wear. I created a podcast that I would want to listen to. And so it was like, I want to talk to, like, talking to women of all different levels and ages and experiences all over the world. Like, it's interesting to see the commonality amongst us and just what jujitsu does for us. Like, we all have our unique things that it does for us, but then it's also interesting, like, you know us talking about how it clears our mind, essentially, like when you're like there's no space for those worries when you're training, and to be like, oh yeah, this is a benefit that I get, and it's not just me. And maybe some woman hears that and that gets her on the mat, and then we have another woman in our women's jiu-jitsu world.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like it's like what you're definitely giving people that kind of like the devil and the angel on the shoulder, right? You're giving them the angel saying, come on, get out there and just try it. And you're almost like just putting it in their ear that it is possible. It is, you know, you can do it at any age, whatever, any body build too. I want to make that clear. Like any body build can do jujitsu. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a small person or a tall person or a muscular person, anyone. And I've learned that through it. And I think that's huge also for women
Hmm.
because I find like that is one of the main reasons some women don't stay is because they physically don't feel like it works for them. And I just want to encourage them. That's not it. It works for everyone. You just have to try and try and try. And you definitely give that vibe off to like, you know, listen to what I'm saying. This is real kind of thing. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
I'm an everyday woman. I'm looking to share with you my journey and everyone else's, and you know, you're putting it in their ear, and that's amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. I think you brought
No,
up a really great point there too, which is jujitsu is for every body type. There's no ideal jujitsu body.
no, not at all. And that's like, again, there's the intimidation part, like, whoa, what am I getting myself into? This is a very hands-on close sport. And then there is like, I don't think my body could fit. I'm too small. I'm too this. I'm too that. I'm too tall. You know, like my arms don't reach around or whatever, right? It's,
Hmm.
yeah, that's where the micro adjustments come into. And, the owner of the gym I'm at, he speaks about micro adjustments like crazy. And I never really put it into place until maybe like the sixth time he kind of kept bringing it up. And I was like, okay, he's telling the truth. He wouldn't lead me down the wrong road. And it's insane what something just a small tweak can do for any body size.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that speaks to too, like relearning the fundamentals over and over. Every time you'll notice those micro adjustments, you'll notice another little detail that makes that difference.
Yeah, like the reps even like, you know, I at first I was like, why are we doing this like 10 times in a row? But then I'm like, this is why we are like burning it into our brain, the repetition, because you may have
Yes,
not been doing it on the second time, but now on the 30th, you've got it down. It's huge.
absolutely. Um, what would you say to a woman who was maybe on the fence thinking about getting into jujitsu, but maybe has that hesitation from the intimidation factor? How would you get her in?
How would I get her in? A huge thing that us women in my class talk about is that it's for everyone. Like we have a stay-at-home mom, a daycare lady. We have someone who works with men at the prison. We have a social worker. Like it's for anyone. And it's life is scary. Life is so scary, and everyone gets so comfortable in their comfort zone. That's why it's called that.
Hmm.
To experience life, you have to put your foot on the other side of that door. And it's not going to feel good at first. You're going to feel anxious. You're going to feel frightened. Like, what am I doing? This is not, I don't want to get hurt. But you also have the opportunity to control that as well with training, right? Repetition, micro adjustments. So I think the big thing about the intimidation for women, I think that we all just need to get out of our headspace and just open the door and just take a step into that gym or into that fitness center or where, however you want to look at it. But I think that that's a huge thing. You just have to take the first step and then the second, and then but maybe by the third, that wave of intimidation will lessen and lessen, and then you'll feel more strength rather than intimidation. So I think that's where it stands. We just got to get out of our heads because I think as women, we just naturally do that. We are
We
just
do.
stuck in our brain.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
I think we're so programmed. Like, so I think a lot of jujitsu is unlearning things that I was programmed to believe, including being afraid. This is sad, but being afraid of other women. I love women. I love my female friendships, but I mean, being afraid that they're going to be mean or catty or whatever, and then learning how nice, women are. It's been great for that too.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a situation with another woman where you were like, oh, is she going to be mean? Is she going to hit me? Is she going to anywhere? Like, have you ever been in that situation in life?
Not necessarily like the hit me. So I grew up. I was a dancer, and I hate to say it, but my experience with women and like I was in a sorority in college, and I dealt with more kind of catty women in the dance community than I did even in my college sorority was not like that, but the women in the dance community, like just a lot of, and so maybe that's where I'm programmed to
Mhm.
kind of approach women with this, is she going to be nice to my face but then behind my back, or kind of feeling. And
Yeah.
luckily in jiu-jitsu I've just experienced a lot of kindness and welcoming, and from, I mean, really, like I've gotten to go to seminars with like world champions who are just the nicest. So it's from the top down in jiu-jitsu. I'm sure there's mean people,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's catty women, but I think they're in the minority.
Yeah, no, for sure. You just maybe haven't come across any yet.
Yeah.
Um, And, I've heard things about the dance world, so I can only imagine. I mean, like everything might have their own thing, but unfortunately, as women, we do have a bit of a cattier side, some show it
Yeah.
more than most. So I can understand and sympathize with, that must have been like a tough time battling with like other women when we're supposed to be supporting each other, not tearing each other
Yeah.
down, because unfortunately, women have the power to tear down hard if they want.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And, like with jiu-jitsu again, I haven't witnessed that yet. Even when I lost against other women, like, I was like, wow, they're being so nice to me right now. It was like amazing. I've been in a situation once, where I was afraid of a woman who I was close with. And I promised myself that I would never let that happen to myself again, where I felt like I was going to get the living bee kicked out of me. Um, and not because I just got in the middle of something, trying to keep the peace. I'm a peacemaker, unfortunately. And, and I promise I'll never be in that situation again, because as women, we shouldn't be doing that to each other. We really shouldn't. We've dealt with enough heartstrings throughout millions of years, but it's important that we just stop behaving like that. Like, there's no need to be like that. And it's unfortunate that, like, example in my situation and yours, different aspects, but you shouldn't feel like you have to protect yourself against another female. I don't think
Yeah.
that's, in a sport, you're training to compete. That's different. That's a
Yeah.
competition. But like out in the everyday world, it's like, no, that's not okay. So that's another reason jiu-jitsu, I was like, I'm never letting that happen again to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you familiar with shine theory?
No, what is this?
I'm a huge proponent of it, a huge fan. It originated with an article about Beyonce and Kelly Rowland, and the whole theory is like, if you shine, I shine. So it's that theory that being around another powerful woman only makes you more powerful. And so I know when I learned about it, it encouraged me to seek out powerful women, strong women, because them being strong and them achieving and being successful doesn't dull my shine. It only, like, we're only going to build each other up. One person's success will, encourage the other person to seek success as well.
Yeah, for sure. I've never heard of that. You'll have to send that to me. That's
Yeah.
interesting, actually, because I see a lot of quotes now, especially since I started Lady Savage, that pop up where like surround yourself with like powerful women that will uplift you, because the ones that aren't feeling powerful within themselves, they're gonna climb on top of you to get higher. They're gonna like shove you into the ground. They're not gonna bring you up to the clouds with them. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
what you said there, like that's huge. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, no, it definitely was such a game changer in my perception of just like female friendships when I first heard of it years and years ago. And it's just,
Mm.
it brings me back all the time. I mean, at the recent Olympics, I was so into the gymnastics. The women's floor exercise, Rebecca Andrade from Brazil won gold, Simone Biles won silver, Jordan Childs won bronze.
Wow.
And when Rebecca stepped up to the top of the podium, Jordan and Simone like bowed down to her. And it was this beautiful photo of them.
Wow.
It was such a great moment, such a great example of women really applauding other women's achievements.
That's amazing. I'm gonna have to look that up too, because I've never seen that part of it. And gymnastics, it's a hard sport for women. Like
Yeah.
they compete heavy, and just know that like they're encouraging and like applauding another woman for putting in just as much as hard work as they have, that's empowering alone, just that small little thing.
Yeah, absolutely. What advice would you give someone going in like day one to their first jiu-jitsu class?
What advice? Do not have an expectation. You have to be open-minded, because it's not like any sport that most people have done. It's not soccer. It's not baseball. It's very close, very personal. It's like you have to strip down what you know. Example, like what you said, you have to like relearn different things or like unprogram your mind. And again, it leads back to just take that step. It's even now, like sometimes I go in, I'm like I get a little bit, but I'm like, it's okay. Like you've done this. Just keep going. Like every class, it might be that feeling, and it might go away or it might not for someone, but you just have to take that step, get out of your mind, and don't have an expectation, because you don't know what it's going to be like. If you're already thinking this is going to be too hard, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. This is a man's sport. You're already halfway out the door. You might as well turn around.
Yeah.
So you just have to go in very clear-minded. Like even if you have to pull up 20 minutes ahead of time and sit in your car and sing a song to get your mind out of it, you got to do it. Like I know on the way to jiu-jitsu, I'm blasting music, like getting in the zone, pumping it up. So if that's what it takes to just clear your mind for that split second just to get in the door, I suggest you do it.
Yeah. I think that's a really great piece of advice and a great sentiment. So do you want to close out, where can people
Yeah.
find Lady Savage? Where can people find you?
Yeah, so Lady Savage right now, we have a website, ladysavagefightwear.store. I can send you the link so that you can share it. We're
Yeah.
also on Instagram, just Lady Savage Fightwear. I'm trying to put it out there. We've got a few people repping our clothes, so hopefully you'll see it along the lines, and it will grow a little bit more. But that's where you can find us. I'm trying to make this about all women. This fightwear. I don't want it to just be my face
Mm-hmm.
on the line. I think it should be about every single woman that wants to wear it, wants to rep it, wants to feel it. So that's where you can find me and the team alone, is on Lady Savage on Instagram and on the website.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll drop both of those in the show notes as well. And then you had a really great display of your fightwear at the beginning, and unfortunately the internet, that spot wasn't great. But if you could send me a photo of that, I will, when I post this on Instagram, I'll include that in the post. So because I love your clothing. I love the colors. It's so fun.
Yeah, for sure. I'll send it. And thank you so much. Like that is a huge thing to me, because, pink's not every girl's color. I find like I used to never wear a lot of pink. So when I created this, I'm like, it doesn't have to be every girl's color. It's supposed to be an out there look. It's not supposed to be like, oh, my favorite color is pink. It's supposed to be, this color is in your face,
Oh
whether
yeah.
you like it, you love it, or you don't. So thank you for that compliment. And again, thank you for giving me this opportunity. You have no idea how big it is for me. And to also kind of feels like we started similar journeys at around the same time. So it's nice to be able to resonate with that. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for reaching out. I love sharing stories like yours. So at the end of that interview, we had some technical difficulties and the connection actually kicked us both out. So we didn't get to say goodbyes over the recording, but I really enjoyed having Megan on. Hopefully we'll have her back on down the road. And the website and her Instagram for Lady Savage Fightwear are in the show notes. Definitely check them out. They've got some cute stuff. It's designed by a woman who fights based on what she wanted her fightwear to feel like and perform like. So it's battle tested. And if you like what you hear and you want to hear more, subscribe. I'm on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, iTunes, pretty much anywhere you can get a podcast. Follow me on Instagram, send me an email, bjjbabespodcast@gmail.com. And with that, I hope y'all have a great week. Later, babes. Bye.